the hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
A 147 all-out. Gujarat Titans have folded up in front of RCB at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, an innings where they started on the back foot, 23 for 3 in the power play, a period of rebuild through their middle order, but then coming undone in the back end, losing 5 in the last 4.5 overs. We revisit that first innings from match number 52 on Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricket 4 Timeout, powered by JBL, with Mitch McClenaghan, Deep Dasgupta and Shashank Kishore for company. Thoughts on that first innings? A score quite unlike what we ever expect at Chinnaswamy. What do you make of it?
I think we'll probably start with Faf's comments at the toss, where he said they weren't sure how the wicket was going to play, so when they won the toss, they wanted to bat second and see what the wicket did. And I'll tell you what, the wicket did all sorts. So it's not wasn't the sideways movement as such, but there was a bit of swing, but it was the up and down nature and balls that looked like they were almost going through the surface and popping with the new ball, which made it very difficult for the opening batsman.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tricky pitch. I mean, it didn't seem as if it was doing a lot, but I think the double-paced nature of that pitch made it very difficult for the batter to kind of get anything going. So even though, I mean, you look at someone like a David Miller or Tevertia, who were there for a while, who were set, even they kind of struggled to time the ball. So it was that kind of a pitch. But yeah, I mean, 147 is still would be under par, I guess. They should have got at least a few more.
Gujarat Titans in the power play has been a recurring theme this season, and this one just adds another.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and it again compounds their woes further at the top. For a while now, we've been talking about what can be done to improve the balance between bat and ball at the Chinnaswamy. I thought we saw an inkling of that today with the kind of surface. Whether it was deliberate, whether it was accidental because of the weather and the rain, we don't know yet. But it played into RCB's hands, and then once they won the toss, the Titans were under the pump straight away with 3 wickets down in the top 6 overs.
Yeah, and there were close to no runs at the start. I think they were 10 after 4 overs. It began with Swapnil giving 1 run in the first. But then we saw Mohammed Siraj. He's not been getting early wickets all season. Not got a lot of wickets per se all season. But for him to be back and striking with the new ball bodes well for RCB and also for India.
Yeah, no, it does. Deep and I were having a conversation off air about Siraj, and he definitely looks like he's far more comfortable bowling to the right-handers. It's the left-handers that have troubled him, and he bowled exceptionally well to the right-handers tonight. I thought he was class with their ball moving away, hit the wicket hard. I thought his pace was up, and that comes with a few early wickets in your spell, and he looked a real threat. I think the question's still out whether he's going to be as effective to left-handers. I think that's a hole in his game at the minute, but from what I saw tonight, he looked far better than we've seen throughout this tournament.
There's a small quirk that I seem to have noticed about Siraj, and whenever he runs in with an angular run-up, his rhythm looks a lot better. He looks a lot more sharper. We saw that in the World Cup game against Sri Lanka. We saw that in the Asia Cup final. We've seen that in a few IPL games as well. How much of that kind of is because of confidence, or is it a rhythm thing? Does that contribute in any way to the way you approach the
something
crease?
that we were discussing was what I thought was he generally gets very close to the stump, and that's where the angle comes in as well. So that maybe that's a very valid point that you make, because I think he's not using the crease as much as he would usually do. Generally, with a new ball, he would get closer to the stump. His lines were tighter then, but I don't know, for some reason. But obviously, the last couple of games, it seems like the ball's coming out a lot better. He seems to be in a better rhythm. Because earlier on, it's not that, I mean, we haven't seen too much of lateral movement or swing. But it wasn't there at all for Siraj, because that was his strength, right, since last year or so. I mean, that away swinger to the right-hander was his strength, but it wasn't swinging that much. It just seems that he's got that rhythm back now. He's looking a lot better. But that angle is a good one. Maybe both of us are saying the same thing from a different angle.
Yeah, the angle stuff as well. So obviously your training conditions vary all the time, and if you're always training in a place where you don't have the room to get that angle run up into your training session, you can end up going in more of a straight line. And if you say you've noticed it, what it does aid is that being a side-on bowler, It aids him to be able to close the shoulders off longer. So that front left shoulder, it's easier to get it into that position, which everything follows after that, and that's how you produce that swing if you're a back foot side-on bowler. So maybe that is a key to why he's starting to get into some form with the ball and look like he's got more rhythm.
Remember through the early part of the season when we were trying to dissect why it's not happening for Siraj, you, Tom, everyone on the show has brought up fatigue, that he looked fatigued. Just wondering how much of a difference a one-game break can make, because if you now split Siraj's season, before the break, he'd played 5 games, taken 4 wickets and gone at 10.5 per over. Ever since, he's gone 1 for 40 in a 220 plus game, none for 20 in a 200 game, 1 for 34, and now this.
Could be, yeah. But generally, I mean, I don't know. I mean, does it make a difference? One game? One game would be a 4-day break, 5-day break.
Can be enough.
Yeah. I mean, basically at times it's a switch, isn't it? Something flicks your switch and you're like, okay, you know, you're feeling good. Could be just one ball. You suddenly figure out that rhythm and you're like something that you weren't doing. You never know. I mean, just going back to that innings of Will Jacks, the last game. Just one shot from off Mohit just changed everything. So maybe something like that has happened. It's difficult. I mean, you know, there's so many moving parts. You don't know which one's fallen in the right place.
What it might have allowed him is some time to do some work in training without having to preserve energy for a game. So he might have been able to work on his skills more for a couple of training days, and then not worry have to be have a good amount of energy for the game. So he might have been able to train longer without trying to preserve that energy and try and get that rhythm on the training park back.
Siraj was one part of what surely ranks as one of the best displays RCB's pace attack has had at Chinnaswamy in a long time, because you look through that scorecard, Shashank, Yash Jha 2 for 21, Cameron Green 1 for 28, and even Vaishak with those wickets at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they all bowled into the pitch. There were a couple of grassy patches there at length or slightly ahead where the ball was doing something, probably stopping on the batters a little bit. And you saw that with the Shubman Gill dismissal where he got a leading edge to point. You saw the batters slightly uncertain. I mean, there were a couple of pull shots that Sai Sudarshan attempted that didn't just go off the bat. So they bowled well into the pitch. They didn't bowl full, and they kept hitting that right spot, and that kind of did the trick for them.
The surface and the conditions a sign that RCB, knowing that they are pace heavy and very short on spin, is it a sign that RCB finally landed on a bit of a formula, or could it all just be down to rain and its after effect?
I reckon there's just been a bit of luck. That it's kind of been a couple of days and the pitch kind of looks underprepared. Not underprepared in like a green sense, but underprepared in like being compact, holding together, and it is inconsistent. They just haven't had the time to get it right.
Now, when we look at that surface and at what GT have in their bowling, just the two seamers, Mohit Sharma, Josh Little playing his first game.
This is where I think, I don't know what your thoughts are. Impact sub, the 18th over, now weigh the pros and cons. At best, you'll get, 10 extra runs? And the other side is you get an extra seamer, let's say a Warrior who's bowling really well. Yeah. So you rather have 10 less runs than a bowler or that.
Who can give you 4 overs.
Who can give you 4 overs on this surface, can pick you wickets. He's a wicket-taking bowler on a surface
and
like
you saw his impact in the previous games. He's taken wickets with the new ball.
Yeah.
You saw how critical the new ball was in this fixture, and then you take away probably your best new ball threat.
So
it's bizarre.
Had that wicket fallen in the 16th or the 15th over, that makes sense. But the 18th over, I'm not too sure with that.
And while a lot of the viewers might wonder right now that you have in Vijay Shankar someone who has been an all-rounder, picked for India as an all-rounder, it's important to note here, number of overs bowled by Vijay Shankar since the impact player rule was introduced is 0. Now, getting into the chase, before we get predictions for the next, for this second innings, congratulations are in order to Shashank and to Mitch, who have landed their outrageous by backing RCB to have a great bowling start. And that's exactly how it played out. So, Deep, I will give you the first pick for the outrageous from the second innings.
I've picked both Virat and Faf, so yeah.
So your impact zone's looking good. But
good, Mohit to start. Outrageous. what would be outrageous? I'd say they'll, on this pitch, a 50-run opening partnership in this first 6, would that be outrageous enough?
No.
No? Okay. I don't know. Okay, so they're going to chase this down in 16 overs, would that be?
16 is fair, I think.
Fair?
We'll keep it. 16 over.
Okay.
Although that's 8.5. I'm not sure I can give you an outrageous on that.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay, you guys
give me
go
a player
ahead.
specific outrageous.
Specific. Okay, let's do this. So, he'd be first 10 balls, Faf would be on 18.
18. So specific score. I'll take that. Mitch, do you have something in mind?
I think RCB will be 4 down on the power play.
Whoa!
That's
So you'd
that's
set
my
3 down
outrageous.
in the first innings.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
going
going
to say
4 down?
4 down. 4 down in the power play, and they will win in the 19th over.
Oh, they'll come back
Yeah.
from the.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is this the script from an MIRCB game from 2017? Shashank.
60 for none in the first 6, and RCB winning this in 15 overs.
50?
The most diverse
1-5.
range we've ever got in the outrageous predictions. 60 for Nolo. So I'm guessing you're going a bit by this extra pumped version of Kohli we saw in the first innings? on the
Yeah,
field?
he just looked extra pumped on the field. He was right on cue with his... he was doing a lot of field placements, if you noticed in the first 4-5 overs. He was right in the thick of things with all the celebrations. Just seemed a little extra charged up.
Yeah, he also got him blowing a flying kiss. I wonder if there's a ban incoming. Happened to Harshit
It's got to
Rana.
be consistent. Got to be consistent.
Let's see how it works out. And Virat Kohli has started with a 6. So Shashank's on course. Whatever the case is, RCB versus GT, as soon as it's over, we'll be back here to look back on this game on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout powered by JBL. Be sure to join us then, and also be sure to download the ESPN Cricket Info mobile app, which will have you covered with all the updates. It's a double-header Sunday coming up, so a lot of reading to do if you want to catch up on the action that's expected on Sunday. So do that, download the app, and join us at the end of RCB versus GT.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the city bred SUV.